Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man. At your services. How are you all? We're doing very, very well. Now, I had got lots and lots of things to show you, to tell you, to review, and I had it all mapped out. Yeah, all mapped out. Yesterday, it was Saturday, and it was pissing down. So we weren't going anywhere or doing anything. I was just going to stay in front of this camera and record lots of videos. Oh, but don't forget, we've got to go down and see your mum. Oh, yeah. Big kilt mama. Yeah, okay, right. Probably a good thing because we're out of whiskey and she would have bought me some whiskey for her favourite son. So, off we went, in the rain, to my mum's. Oh, and yes, she bought me some whiskey. So, happy days are here again. And as we drove back, the clouds parted, the rain abated, and the sun came out. The sun came out. Now, we're just easing out of lockdown in the UK, and at the moment pubs are open, but you've got to stay outside, you can't go indoors. So obviously the pubs were not open yesterday because of the weather being so bad. But as I've just explained to you on the journey back, heavenly rays of sunshine burst from the firmament and bathed the land beneath. And I got a little message saying, oh, we're open. So Mrs. Kilt-Man was taking the dog out. Oh, I'll take the dog out to leave you to do all your videos and all your stuff. Cheers, hon. See you later. Oh, pubs are open. Sun is shining. Kilt-Man runs on down to the pub and has, I don't know, quite a lot of whiskey. Chitter chatter, catching up with people you haven't seen since the day before. No. You are catching up with people you haven't seen for a long time in the pubs now. Well, I say in the pubs, at the pub. You're not in it yet. You've got another week before you can go indoors in pubs. And even then it's only 50% capacity, so, and you've got to be socially distanced and oh God. And then in another month's time after that, apparently, all lockdown restrictions are gone. Completely evaporated. So you can do whatever you want, don't have to wear a mask again. But you know me, I love masks. So lockdown and COVID was great for me. But, so everything is meant to be back to normal, whatever normal is, I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy there. But I had a lot of things planned. So I thought, well, obviously, once my hangover finally drifted away today, I thought, well, get that work done, get those videos done, come on, we've got stuff we've got to do. And right at the last moment, I just was about to press record. Knock on the door. Oh, God, what's that? Oh, Mrs. Kilt-Man, I forgot to tell you, Dave's coming out to look at all the bikes. We've got loads of bikes, which we don't use. And Dave knows everything about bikes. He repairs bikes. He occasionally has been known to ride a bike. And I think Mrs. Kilt-Man thought, oh, he can just have them and he'll take them and he'll sell them, he'll do them up or whatever. And he took one look and he went, there's no market for any of them. But anyway, cheers, Dave. So they're all still here. And obviously, so I got thwarted again. And then I set up again, right, compose myself, right, I'm going to do this. Right, brilliant, okay. I've got a little comedy sketch all worked out. Yeah, let's do that. And my phone, which I'm recording on, message comes up from my good mate, the gorgeous babe, horror babe, Imelda Gonzalez out in Texas. Yes. And she's a wonderful follower of the channel, and she knows her horror movies inside out. And she's a great ball of fun and fury, a vixen of violence and horror. And I loves her, I does. And she said to me, just out of the blue, what's your favourite horror movie? Well, I just thought, okay, right, I'll just quickly reply to you. How do you do that? How do you go what your favourite horror movie is? You'd think, I know people on the outside always seem to think, well, you talk about horror movies all the time. So, hey, what's your favourite? I've got about 20 I can fit into that top slot, if not more. And I have done videos on this before where I've listed like my favourite movies, but I don't think I've done one which is be like categorically, this is my favourite horror movie, and it's almost impossible to do. I mean, many of you already know what the answer is going to be to that. So I thought, well, rather than trying to reply, and my big sausage fingers are going, trying to reply to it, I just realised, you know what? It's going to be quicker and easier, and perhaps a bit more entertaining, to put it in a video. So this video, folks, is for Imelda Gonzalez. And it's an answer to the question, what is Kilt-Man's favourite horror movie? The rest of you, who fucking cares? But Imelda, cheers, hon, cheers. Your very good health. And my rapidly shrinking liver. So, there's no way you can do this. There isn't. What's the criteria for your favourite horror movie? Is it just the one that you... Oh, I love this one. Warts and all, it's a crap film, but I love it. The minute you ask someone who has spent many years as being a film reviewer and critic to do that, it's very hard to... You can't just arbitrarily just throw a title at, that's my favourite. You can't, because all of a sudden your analytical brain begins to kick in. Well, there's certain criteria. It's got to be a good film, well acted. You've got to care about the characters. It's got to have lasting imagery. It's got to be a horror film. It's got to be elements that make you repulsed and just horrified. It's got to stay with you. It's got to have ideas which are outside the box, which stick in your brain, make you think beyond the genre. It's got to be a pinnacle. Well, does it? Does it? Does it matter? What's your favourite horror film? And in true time-honoured fashion, I have divided up vintage movies and then modern movies. Now, I know I've done this loads of times before. What your limits, what your parameters? I've basically lumped everything that's black and white as being vintage. So you're talking 30s, 40s, 50s. That's it. Anything from that period. And I know there was colour films then, but that's not the way I'm working it out. And then horror films post all of that. So from the 60s, 70s, 80s, or now. But you'll find that on my two lists, there's nothing of any particular revelation. It's a lot of, these are films, I've discussed them all a million times, and it doesn't really matter, you know, because they are all films which can justifiably sit at the top of anyone's. If you're a horror buff, horror fanatic, they could sit, any of these titles could sit at the top slot. But I've thought about these, and every single time I've done a top 10 list, or someone asks me, certain titles always jumble together. I want to be number one. I want to be, and it's hard to distinguish. However, there is a favourite from the vintage and a favourite from the modern. And again, there's no real shocks there. But okay, so let's do the vintage first, because why the hell not? And yeah, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. I view them together. James Whale, Boris Karloff. Yep. No further explanation. The first film is genuinely scary, genuinely thought-provoking. It's emotional. It's staggeringly image-rife, and it's an absolute classic of its form. Never better than any further subsequent adaptation made of the Frankenstein saga has it been bettered. No. Bride of Frankenstein takes the same story, moves on, adds a body count, adds a distinct sense of James Whale's very eccentric, peculiar, quirky sense of humour. Ernest Thesiger and his little homunculi, and the monster wants a bride, he wants a mate, and it's brilliant. It's funny, it's shocking, it's a bit taboo breaking, and I love it. And viewed together, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are the perfect double act, the perfect suite, you could call it, from the vintage horror years. Again, sticking with James Whale, The Old Dark House. Oh my God, I love this movie. Boris Karloff again. The great moment when they arrive, these beleaguered travellers, during a tempestuous storm, arrive at the Old Dark House. Bong, bong, bong. The door opens just a crack, and you see Boris Karloff's face with a beard and straggly hair and a big scar across it. Just leans out. We're wondering, my good man, if we could maybe take shelter here tonight, away from the storm. Our car is broken down and blah, 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 blah. And you think there's going to be a big demonic voice, and Boris Karloff just goes, because there's a lot of things wrong with the family that live at this place. It's funny, it's eccentric, it's all the James Whale things, but it's genuinely scary, and it breaks a few taboos as well, because you've got the absolutely gorgeous Gloria Stewart, and the old matriarch of the family is trying to dress her up for the dinner, and she's pouring at it, and it's a really, oh my God, oh, your young flesh and those curvy bits. That's not the dialogue, but it may as well be. I love it, love it. The Island of Lost Souls. I've covered that movie quite extensively on the channel. An adaptation of H.G. Wells, The Island of Dr. Moreau. Charles Lawton is staggeringly good. Bela Lugosi as the Sayer of the Law is amazing. The makeup effects are just a complete revelation. Shocking, frightening, and genuinely incredibly well done. And vivisection and the vengeance of the Beastmen is just magnificent. A short movie, but it's a short, sharp shock. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Lola, the Panther Woman, oh my God. And the cleverness of the carnal delights and reverting back to original form. It's just awesome stuff. I love it, love it. So Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Old Dark House, Island of Lost Souls, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Absolutely love Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love all the three movies in that cycle, but the first one is by far the best. And the Gill Man swimming sinuously beneath Gloria, Julia Adams. I always want to call her Gloria. Julia Adams in the Black Lagoon, and he's mimicking her movements, and he's again, like the old woman in The Old Dark House. Curves and them little bits. Interesting. Yeah. You're making my gills go very fluttery. And it's a wonderful film. Great killings, great 3D as well. It's a film that, like all these, they may be shocking for the time they came out. They may still provide shocks and jolts. And you think, when you watch them, I go, how did he get away with that then? Because it'd be difficult to get away with it now, And but there's the thing about the vintage movies, and perhaps going through your favourites, there's a coziness to them. No matter how shocking they may be, because you've watched them time and time again and they've had a profound effect upon you, they may still be harrowing as an experience to sit through, but there's something about them that you know and love because you know what's coming next, and it still affects you on a great fundamental level, and you do feel at home with it, because we're all horror heads, we're all fiends, we're comfortable with dismemberment and cannibalism. Zombies. The Undying Monster, that's another werewolf movie. And like The Wolfman, which by the way, I haven't forgotten it because it's in the list. It's in the list, don't worry. Like The Wolfman, there's a little mantra in it, like even the man who's pure at heart says his prayers, blah blah blah. You've got the Hammond family curse, where beware thy bane on a rocky lane. Says, the butler of the Hammond house out in the rurals, out across the moors. And it's a very short movie, and it's got lots of humour, quirky humour to it again, because you've got this sort of wisecracking detective duo who are brought in to investigate the murders and the mystery, and of course they're going to find out that there really is a bloody werewolf there. Yes! You barely ever see him. I've got close-up shots of his face, and it's a great makeup effect as well, but you do see him in the big sort of frantic chase finale, and I love it. It's creepy, atmospheric, it's got a sort of stage-bound farce-like mystery at its core, but it does have a great splendid sense of eeriness, and it's just and I love it to bits. Love it. Of course, The Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. I'm not going to say any more about that. I've said enough. Enough. I've been encyclopedic about The Wolfman. I love it. We'll never tire of it. It's definitely up there at the top of my vintage horror movies, of my all-time faves. But so is King Kong, which I think is an absolute masterpiece of movie making anyway. And if I could put 3 films, why am I going to try and pick 3 films? I'm just going to fall into the same trap. If you could make a time capsule and put 3 films that mean everything to you and would shape generations of moviegoers and innovation for filmmakers, what would they be? It would be King Kong, it would be Jaws, and it would be, well, my favourite film, bitch. I'll leave that. So King Kong would be in there. I love King Kong. And again, you get this raked over argument again. Well, it's not a horror film. People go, Jaws is not a horror film. It's a monster. Yeah, it's a monster movie. Monsters, horror. Of course, genres and subgenres and some fused together. Alien. Is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Is it a monster movie? Is it a ghost story? Is it like an old haunted house in space? It's all of those things. But they all, if you could do like a little sort of family tree, they would all these little tributaries would come under the big family brand name of horror. So, without a doubt, these films are going in there regardless. So, Thing from Another World is in there, and Them, the giant ants of Them. Oh, God, I really King Kong, Them, and Thing from Another World. I could watch all day long, every day, forever, and never tire. And it seems like I have done. I've watched them back to back to back to back. And they never cease to amaze, impress, astound, excite, exhilarate, and terrify me. Never. They never cease. Them is genuinely frightening, and it's a great story. It's so well told, and the effects for the day are outstanding. The Thing from Another World, the greatest sci-fi horror creature feature of them all. The granddaddy of sci-fi invasion movies, as far as I'm concerned. And a great cast, great dialogue, great effects, wonderful score. All these films got wonderful scores. Just exemplary. So, what is your favourite Kilt-Man out of the vintage? Is it Wolfman? Is it King Kong? Is it Them? Is it The Thing from Another World? It's The Thing from Another World. That's the one that I would always choose to settle down with. If I really had to make a decision amongst all of those, including the Wolfman, I'm going for The Thing. It just has so much more creepiness, scary, great story, great cast, great characters, great dialogue, great dilemma of science versus the military, one instinctive decision to save the day, and the scientific one, the foolhardy one, and caught in between all this are the innocents who are at this base in the North Pole. It's fabulous. It's The Thing from Another World. It's my favourite vintage horror movie of all time. So then we move on. We move on to the more modern era. But you're going to find in this list that there's nothing from the 2000s, there's nothing from the 90s. Is there? No, there's nothing from the 90s. And that isn't to say that I have neglected, I may have forgotten titles, but the very fact that I've forgotten them, and they don't, when you get asked what's your favourite horror movie, that those titles did not leap in, and yet all the same, what is it, I think 12, maybe 13 titles there, they always appear. Someone asked me that, they're automatically there. So, I mean, there might be other films as well, which you know, I go, oh, I love that as well, but would it slot itself in to this list? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. So, you know, here we go again. Let's dive into this. So, this is all for you, Imelda. Cheers. This is all for me. Okay, right. In no particular order. Again, I'm not going from the earliest to the most modern, but Dawn of the Dead, George Romero's second movie in his Dead cycle. Commercialism, survivalism, cannibalism, the complete sort of corporate, commercial, societal satire that George Romero created. Great gore from Tom Savini, the great Tom Savini. A great little ensemble of cast members, all unknowns at the time. A wonderful score from Goblin. Great set pieces. It is an epic movie in every single, you know, facet of that sort of banner sort of title. Struggled there, didn't I? But it's the zeitgeist. It's a cloud burst of horror. I don't find it frightening, but I find the situation itself absolutely terrifying. The film itself does not frighten me. Only its broader scope does, its situation, its scenario. But I would never tire of it. Again, I can watch it endlessly. It's funny, you care about the characters, it's a great story, it has a great resolution to it, because it's not, you don't know what's going to happen next. But the whole thing, they've made home, they made paradise. There's always snakes in paradise. And even in the face of a monstrous apocalypse, it's still other human beings who are going to be the ultimate snake in the grass. So they lose it all and go off to an uncertain future. But there's rays of hope at the end of it. That dawn of the dead is literally the dawn coming up, and there's rays of sunshine. Like what ushered me into the beer garden yesterday. So yeah, there's hope for us all. So Dawn of the Dead. I'm playing the soundtrack from James Horner to the film Wolfen. The awesome adaptation of Whitley Strieber's terrific best-selling horror thriller from the 70s, The Wolfen. And I've discussed this a lot too, so I'm not going to go really heavy on this. But this, I find it strongly emotional, deeply resonant. The ecology, the environment, animals, American tribalism, Native Americans, post-Vietnam angst, surveillance and security, high-tech versus primal instincts, beautiful score. And the monsters themselves are not monsters. They may do monstrous things, but they're just trying to survive. And it's a great, clever story. And the twist, Albert Finney is great in this movie. I just love it to bits. Tom Noonan, oh my God, fantastic. And I would kill to get that 4-hour cut of this movie. Kill for it. So don't get in my way. But Michael Wadley did Woodstock. You could tell his heart and his spirit were invested in this for lots of other reasons beyond the basic horror story that was at the crux of this drama, this gripping police detective procedural with nightmarish wolf attacks. Anyway, Wolfen very definitely is up there. Jaws, is it a monster film? Is it an adventure film? Is it an action movie? It's all of those, but it's about a 25-foot fucking great white shark that eats people. Big mouth, like that. There he is. Coming at you. All that. It's a horror film, and it's one of the best. And it would go in that time capsule, the first ever screen blockbuster to coin the phrase blockbuster for audiences and cinema goers. It is commercial blitzkrieg. It's wonderful. The best characters ever committed to celluloid. Some of the greatest dialogue, some of the greatest set pieces, one of the greatest horror scores ever. Enough said. Gonna need a bigger list. Yeah, quite right. Jaws is up there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That, Imelda, that is your favourite horror film. You told me so. And yeah, I would not. Anyone who says Texas Chainsaw Massacre is at the top of the tree for horror, definitely. I cannot agree more. It is a harrowing, nightmarish movie told in that sort of semi-documentary style. Tobe Hooper was never better. He never managed to recapture the glory and the sheer pulverizing brutality and in-your-face just garishness of this story. The nerve of saying it's based on true, like, well, it kind of is Ed Gein and all that. How many films are based on the cannibalistic antics of Ed Gein? But the Wisconsin cannibal serial killer. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, the hitchhiker, oh my God, Grandpa and all that. Oh God, you know, he's the best in the business. You know, and hitting it. Oh, the plunges through the glass windows and the finale, getting hit by trucks, wailing chainsaw dance with Leatherface, people on meat hooks. Oh my God, bodies springing back to life from refrigerators. Jesus Christ, it's galvanizing. It is awesome. And yet, as I said before, as sheer blood-curdlingly nasty as it is, it's kind of cozy too. I know every line of dialogue, I know every frame of that movie inside out. I marvel at it, I love it, I relish it. It's grungy dirtiness, but I feel at home with it. And that's part of this. One of your favourite movies, they've got to have that sort of comforting blanket. They may still terrify you and shock you, but they still inspire you and they still resonate so incredibly powerfully with you as well on almost every level. Texas Chainsaw, it's gotta be there, gotta be there. Halloween, John Carpenter breaks the stalk and slash mold, the Mario Bava style giallo, Dario Argento, Hitchcockian, great innovation with camera work with Dean Cundey, doing his own synthesized score, phenomenal. Michael Myers, the great, I think I did christen him the greatest bogeyman of all time. He is, beyond any shadow of a doubt. Great characters, great story, simple scenario, but so well done. It's the craft that goes into it. The unrelenting shocks that keep piling upon each other. He won't fucking die, you know. Just gets up and turns around behind you like, he's behind you. It is awesome. Poor Bob. Crunch. The biggest butcher knife, and it must be because it's gone through a 6'2" fucking fella and pinned him to a kitchen wall. That's a hell of a knife, but doesn't matter. And the ambiguity at the ending, you know, was that the boogeyman? Click. As a matter of fact, that was. This is not a man, you know. He'll barely be able to stand up. He'll barely be able to sit up when he's going to go for his hearing in the court. That is the idea. He is genius. Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my God, everybody in that movie. And all the ones behind the scenes, John Carpenter's direction, Dean Cundey's camera work, that score, everything about it is just magnificent. The Evil Dead, all the same reasons. Great camera work, innovative shocks, dizzying effects, a great bunch of characters that, as amateurish as they are, you fall in love with them, you know them, you love them, and you really don't want anything bad to happen to them. And then once it does, chop them up, you know. Evil Dead, even though it's got its tongue wedged in its cheek, it's still genuinely frightening. It is a grueling, surreal, absurdist experience in absolute balls-out horror. It does everything you want from a horror film. It just propels you into a maelstrom of murder and madness, and it is just unrelenting brilliance. Again, I could just say the titles, you know them anyway. Suspiria, Dario Argento's finest moment. Oh God, again, I've gone on at length about this. Suspiria genuinely frightens me. It moves me. The imagery, the music, Goblin score, Dario Argento's bizarre direction, and the complete threadbare, almost illogical story, the narrative that doesn't make any sense, and nor does it have to. It is a nightmare just flung at you, full frontal in your face. There you go. Sit there, deal with this. Double murders, rooms full of barbed wire, cackling witches, oh my God. Poor blind man getting savaged by his own guide dog, what the hell? Invisible stone birds flapping around a big stone plaza, oh Christ, what is going on? And the beautiful artistry and production art design. Suspiria, fucking love it. American Werewolf, again, effects, great characters, great script, very funny, very scary, very gory, innovative in every single direction. It's fabulous. Again, say no more. American Werewolf, Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, exactly the same. It breaks all the rules. It breaks the fourth wall because you don't know what's real and what isn't. You completely left. Are we awake or what? I left the cinema when I first saw that movie. I was in a state of shock. I've told you before on the bus coming out. People were saying to me, you know, because I was the horror guru. Chris, what do you think of that then? You haven't said a word. What do you think of it? And I was just like that. I was blown away. Yes, big commercial success like Halloween leads to a franchise, like many of these movies, leads to a franchise of, you know, de-escalating returns, diminishing returns, that's it. But the first is an absolute balls-out classic, which cannot be topped. Terror all the time. Great characters, just great set pieces. Awesome. Zombie flesh eaters. Little Lucio Fulci, that little Italian gnome of gore. A little chubby face, the Benny Hill of brutality is what he is. Zombie flesh eaters, yes, it's naffly dubbed But the effects are extraordinary. It's a rip-off of George Romero, but it also goes beyond Romero by having better gore effects and better zombie makeup. Gianetto De Rossi breaks all the barriers, throats, arteries, there's piss and blood everywhere, fountains of claret everywhere. A zombie takes on a shark, for God's sake. We've got the gorgeous Oretta Gay. Oh God, one of the most beautiful bodies in the world ever. You can't blame a shark for wanting to eat that. Even a shark with no teeth. Yeah, I've gone on about that before. But an extraordinary movie full of the most blood-curdling effects. Great soundtrack as well. It's pulsating, it's got voodoo, it's got everything in there. Richard Johnson's in there as well, trying to, whoa, what is it? Bacteriology? Virology? You can't work it out. Zombies, voodoo. Nothing makes sense. Love it to bits. The Exorcist and The Omen. I'm not religious, but those films still work on an absolutely fundamental primal level. You're worried about poor Reagan in The Exorcist, her plight and her mother's plight, and the Jesuit priests coming in to battle to save her soul from Pazuzu, this demon. Oh my God, Friedkin's direction. It's static a lot of the time. It's not the moments of great flaring camera work, tumbling down stone steps and all this sort of stuff, firing shotguns to scare your cast members, slapping a real priest in the face to get a reaction out of him. All this stuff, head spinning, green vomit. Oh, it's got the lot. Theological debate, mystery, genuine suspense, blood-curdling terror. It's got the lot. The Exorcist cannot be beaten. The Omen I prefer because The Omen is just much more fun. It's got a greater roster of characters. The set pieces are more comic book in nature. They're clearly set piece murders, and I love them. Richard Donner's direction is impeccable. Gregory Peck is awesome. Poor Lee Remick. Oh God, Billy Whitelaw's terrifying. Patrick Troughton and David Warner, get in there. Little Harvey Stevens turning around at the end. Little devilish grin on his face. Bastard! Born of a jackal. Evil little sod. Jerry Goldsmith's exquisite score. Oh, again, Tubular Bells, Mike Oldfield for The Exorcist, and Prezarecki, and oh God, those ridiculous names I can never pronounce, who also composed music which was in The Exorcist. Extraordinary score again. You'll notice that all these favourites have great scores as well. It's the full package. But again, The Omen probably tops The Exorcist for me. I know it's sort of pop culture and there's a bit more of a franchise aspect to it as well, but I adore it. It's just the scene in the old Etruscan cemetery where they go and find out who the real mother was and what happened to Robert Thorne's real baby boy. Oh God. And then the dogs attack. Oh, sweet Jesus. It's going to take time out just to think about that for a second. Lasted well, hasn't it? Normally I've gulped the lot by now. So, but my favourite horror movie out of the modern era I haven't mentioned yet. So I'm going to mention it now. And this is my favourite horror movie of all time. And it's going to fall into that trap again. Is it sci-fi? Is it a monster movie? It's a horror movie? I don't know. It's icky, it's gloopy, you know what it is. So, because you know what it is, I'm going to put its music on. Oh God, I wish this little clicky mouse thing was a bit quicker. Again, it's sausage fingers Kilt-Man, but can't operate it. Christ, where is it? There we go. As if it wasn't going to be, because how could it not be? This is also perhaps my favourite film of all time. Again, like I said with everything else, I never tired of it. And the beauty of this movie is that you keep seeing little bits that, well, you've seen it that many times. I've seen every bit burned into this movie. I've seen it, but sometimes you only pick up on the relevance of it after your 300th viewing. The sound of the keys dropping. Who got to the keys? Or just so many things. Who got to the blood? Who took the key? I keep coming back to the keys. The flames underneath the floor in the Norwegian camp, which of course we know is actually the American camp, and they filmed that bit after they blew up the American camp and went in and filmed the wreckage there to make it look like the Norwegian camp. And you see flames flickering beneath the floor, where you've got the guy who suicide overkill. He slashed both wrists and his own throat, just to make sure. And he's there, incredible. The effects, Rob Bottin, Carpenter's direction, a huge ensemble cast, all male except for Adrienne Barbeau's voice on the computer chess. For a second there I thought it was Jamie Lee Curtis. It's not, it's Adrienne Barbeau. Oh, you know the film so well, do you, Kilt-Man? There's just so many facts and details bursting in my synapses now that the odd little slip up will happen. It's inevitable. Carpenter and Alan Howarth's extraordinary score. Again, Dean Cundy's Panaglide camera work is to die for. The location shooting in British Columbia, the snow, the ice, the sense of paranoia, the isolation, trapped there. Kurt Russell, King Kurt! God, with his mountain man beard. I've always said that my two favourite films are Escape from New York and The Thing, and he always vie. It's The Thing. The Thing is so much more mature and intelligent than Escape from New York. Escape from New York's a hell of a lot more fun, but The Thing is fun on a different sort of level. It's more cerebral, despite the fact that it's full of the most graphic, visceral, in-your-face gore effects and transformations, and it's all icky and gooey and graphic and explicit, but it's still making you think. You're trying to analyse, you're trying to process what's going on. How is that happening? Can I trust him? What happened to, and all this. So you're playing, it's a very Sherlock Holmesian sort of story as well. Only you really don't need a detective to work out. You just go through the set pieces, and if you've survived at the end, well, it's all there in your face. But who survives at the end? The bleakest, most nihilistic ending in studio cinema history. It is. It's the end of the world. And these two guys are sitting there at the arsehole on the bottom of the planet. Childs and McCready. Who's who? Who cares? Because it doesn't matter. If any of them are human, they're not going to last. If the Thing is one of them, it's going to survive and be found. It'll just freeze in the ice. And then it's the end of civilization, because it will get back. It's perfect. The perfect conclusion to the perfectly structured horror, thriller, sci-fi, action, drama, mystery, survivalist. It's got all these elements are in there. So that, Imelda, and I could have just replied to you, oh, it's The Thing. But where'd be the fun in that? It's also like asking you, who's your favourite child? And that's easy. It's Lucy, my daughter. She's the one who's got brains. She's the one who's going to go places. She is the one whose millions will end up looking after me and keeping me in the life I've become accustomed to when I'm old and grey. And I just want to go up to my shack and get drunk, So folks, there you go. And if you noticed, in the vintage it was The Thing from Another World, and in the moderns it was The Thing. Both tellings of the same original story. From oh God, what's his name? Who wrote Who Goes There? And I forgot. John W. Campbell. Oh, you see, I'm getting old already. I'm saying how cerebral the film is, and the story's complex, and you've got to use your intellectual thought processes to weigh it all up and assess it all. And my faculties have completely gone, washed away on a river of whiskey. So there you go, folks. The Thing from Another World from the vintage era, The Thing from the modern era. And if someone said to me, choose now, which is your favourite of them two, or I blow your head off. Well, I disarm them because I'm good like that. I know how to get out of things like that. I'd have that shotgun out of his hands and rammed up his arse so quickly, they're both tellings of the same story, but in vastly different ways. But they both have paranoia. They both have a threat, a monstrous alien threat. They have great ensemble cast, great banter, great dialogue, great scores. Dimitri Tiomkin for the Thing from Another World, John Carpenter and Alan Howarth thought, it's Ennio Morricone and John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. Good God! Who ever could have dreamed that one simple question would lead me down this rabbit hole where I've completely tripped myself up so many times, banged me head. Beware, here there be rabbits. So yeah, The Thing from Another World and John Carpenter's The Thing. What's the one I would return to most? God, that is a tough one. That really is, because I don't think there's any other films that I've watched as much as these two at all. So I can't decide. The Thing from Another World and The Thing sitting there in the frozen wastes at the end of this video. But which is Kilt-Man's favourite? You know, if we've got 3 surprises for each other, I don't think we're in much shape to do anything about it. So what do we do then? I don't know. Why don't we just sit here for a while, see what happens? Kilt-Man, we'll see you all. Oh, what's your favourite horror film?